Mr. Ambassador, you've already hinted at the potential 100-year lease for the corridor through Armenia's Syunik region and Zangezur.
Yeah.
What do you make of this proposal? How plausible is it?
Well, how plausible is it? Well, what are other examples? And I've been trying to do a little research on my own, just because, when I hear 100-year lease, I think of the Panama Canal. And, that didn't necessarily turn out exactly the way the people who signed the 100-year lease 100 years ago thought it would. But if you kind of, look around the world for other examples of either a single country, like in the Panama Canal, where the United States, was for that period responsible for the functioning of the canal, or Suez Canal could be another example. But these things kind of change over time, and what seemed like a good idea, may run into political realities on the ground, where you have a different government in either Armenia or Azerbaijan, and 10, 15, 20 years down the road, who decide to go their own way. So I think if you're going to have a long-term lease like that, that does involve external parties. In other words, parties beyond Azerbaijan and Armenia. It would have to be a multinational consortium. And there have already been some hints that maybe Turkey is, helping the American ambassador there develop these ideas. I don't know if that's the case. It's kind of an odd thing for an American ambassador in Turkey to be talking about, but that's their business. But I think, it would almost have to be like the pipeline consortia that have been put together for oil and gas in the region. But it would have to be more than just an American unilateral lease, if you will, for it to be accepted. Now, all of this ignores three very important issues, two of which happen to be countries: Iran and Russia. If they are not somehow part of this, I can't imagine a situation where they would simply step aside and let the United States and Turkey kind of develop this. So I think those are two very important wild cards. And the third thing is something that I've been very interested in, because there's so little attention paid to it in all the discussion about the middle corridor, and the fact that this Zangezur Corridor would be part of a broader transportation link that would go basically from Turkey and beyond, all the way through Central Asia and beyond. People overlook the fact that there is an environmental crisis of huge proportions going on with the decrease in the levels of the Caspian Sea. And why is that important? Well, you can talk about a 100-year lease on the Zangezur Corridor, but if you're not able, because the sea level in the Caspian is decreasing at a dramatic rate, if you're not able to move the amount of cargo that would be necessary from Kazakhstan and Turkmenistan to Azerbaijan to use the Zangezur Corridor, I think you have a bigger problem out there that there needs to be, international attention. We've seen the Aral Sea. I was in Israel for 3 years, and one of the big issues there was flows from the Jordan River into the Dead Sea. And we understand how complicated, both from an environmental point of view, but also from an economic point of view, something like the decrease in levels of the Caspian can have. So I think that and it's not a popular phrase, certainly with the Trump administration, about environmental problems that need to be addressed. But this is one that really does. This could benefit from U.S. leadership.
So are the Russians or the Turks looking at this issue of the lowering of the Caspian Sea? Are they attending to it?
No.
So nobody is really paying much attention to this climate issue.
I mean, there was, and I hope I've got the years right. My old mind isn't working as well as it should. I think it was 2018. There was an agreement among the 5 riparian states on the Caspian about a whole range of issues. The environmental issues relating to the Caspian in terms of pollution. Development of energy resources, presence of military forces from outside the region of the Caspian. This agreement has never been ratified, as I understand it, by Iran, because Iran has never accepted the principle of if you will, an equal division of the Caspian among all 5 riparian states. So, what ought to have been a mechanism to begin addressing this has not worked, isn't working now. And so, it's a problem that is only going to get worse. It's only going to have greater impact on the economics and the geopolitics, quite frankly, of the region. And the 2 countries who should be as interested as anyone in dealing with this, Iran and Russia, in some respects are the source of the problem. Russians, because of what they've been doing in terms of mismanaging the water resources of the Volga, which have been the source of much of the water intake into the Caspian Sea, and the Iranians because of the geopolitics, where they simply have not been willing to accept, a division of the Caspian Sea that's recognized in virtually all the other states in the Caspian, but also principles of international law. So I think this is a problem that really, if you're going to address the Zangezur Corridor in terms of U.S. engagement, U.S. policymakers need to ask themselves, what do we do about the Caspian Sea if unaddressed, it results in sort of economic damage to this middle corridor.